Hello and welcome. This is Mama Jess. Today I'm going to teach you how to use two different kinds of screw guns. I call them screw guns, but I know they have special names. This is called an impact driver. And this is a screw gun, but it also can be used as a hammer drill. So that's a little more powerful for going in stucco or big lag bolts, things like that. This is probably out of your league right now, but I'll still show you because of the nature of how you can put in different bits. Okay, so this is one of my favorite tools. I use it all the time. So I just want to show you how it works. This little mechanism right here, at least on this one, this DeWalt, okay, this opens and closes, opens and closes. And what that's doing is it's creating the ability to put my bit in, whatever it is. This is a drill bit. This would be for drilling, okay? And this is for putting in a screw, okay? I want you to take a close look at the bit. Okay, this drill bit, do you see how that is on that side? That's what goes inside this hole, okay? And this is the drill part. This is a bit. You can see the back side. That can fit into this, okay? I open that up, put it in, and release. I'll show you again. And it should lock in and close down, okay? And you want to check it, okay? That's kind of a squatty nubby, but if I was doing something that didn't require length, but if I wanted some length, you can use these. These are drill, like they're bit holders. I don't even know what they're called. Okay, but that will give you a little length if you have to go far into something. It's a little harder to get to. And especially if you're going to be using like a little mini bit like this, these short squatty ones, you definitely want to have something like this. Okay, so these are really important. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the different types of hardware you can use with your screw gun and how to use it. Okay, let's begin. So I'm just going to start you with my favorite type of screw is this. This is a T25. It's a star head. So I want you to take a look at that. Different, right? Different than this. That's Phillips. And I don't even bother with the slot head, okay? That's just one little slot right across. There's not a lot of torque on that. Okay. So the other thing you have to realize that there's going to be forward and backwards. When I say forward, I mean to the right. And I change it. When I say backwards, I mean to the left. So right is tight. You're going to tighten the screw when you go to the right. You're going to loosen the screw when you go to the left. Okay? Really important. So here we go. I'm going to begin. Again, like with nailing, I'm holding it pretty lightly. And I want to just get it started. Now, I'm really trying to be relaxed here when I'm holding this. I'm letting it spin, trying to get it started. Now it's started, okay? Now, I can pull my hand away, put it on the back of this gun, and I can use that force to push down, okay? It's going to come through the back, so it's going to be kind of goofy. Okay. And pull it out like so. Okay, so you're going to learn how to do that over and over again the more you practice putting it in and taking it out. There are different lengths, longer, shorter. You want to make sure you have the right size for what you're doing. You don't want this to stick out through the back. Look at that. Look how far that would stick out if you use that size. You need it to be shorter. This would even be too long, especially if you're making a chicken coop or any shelter where animals are. You don't want to have these sharp points sticking out. I mean, you can file them off, you know, cut them off with a hacksaw, but that's not safe anyway. Okay, so there's a lot of different style heads. This is, again, the T25. This is a different, I don't know what this is called. I don't prefer it, but it just seems to end up in my screw bucket. And so, you know, you have to have different types of bits. Okay, so this one fits for that. It's like a square. Sometimes it's a matter that these are just cheaper, okay, than the Torx. These are very expensive. Now, the other thing that just it's not just about basic screwing, it has to do with drilling. So, for example, let's say I have a piece of wood like cedar. Cedar can split. In my experience, it's got a really nice straight grain and it splits easily. So what I do if I'm going to be nailing into cedar, I'm going to pre-drill, okay? Okay, so I'm going to drill just a little bit into the wood so that I can start my nail, okay? And what that's going to do, I might go a little bit further because I don't want this to split, especially if I was at the end. This is where there's high probability that board, when you drive this nail just like this, it's going to split and ruin your board, and lumber is expensive. So it's best to pre-drill, take out your hammer, and you can begin to hammer, okay? So that's going to protect the wood from splitting. Okay, the other kind of hardware that you might come across will be a hex head. This is really common when you are wanting to put any kind of corrugated roofing on a shelter. Okay, so these are really important. These are called hex heads, okay, a hexagon with the 6 sides of that shape on the inside. Same thing here, locks in, okay? This is the hex screw right there, okay? Again, you can kind of start it with your hands being relatively loose around it, get it started. Then when it's started, back away, put force on it to help it go in, okay? Now, when I did this nail, you need to know that I used a drill bit that was smaller than it, because I need this nail to still have enough friction through the wood, from the wood, in order to hold. If I made this hole too big, it's just going to slide in and out, and then it's not going to work, okay? So you have to have the right size bit depending on what you're doing. In the case of a bolt, I have to have this be bigger than this. So we're going to see if this works. I might need a slightly bigger one, but it all depends. Like, do I want the bolt to be loose inside the hole? Do I want it to be snug? You know, so let's go right here. And notice how when I went in, I kind of rolled it around, kind of softened it, opened it up, okay? Yeah, that worked perfect, okay? And then you put the nut on the back. Okay, okay, something like that. The other kind of hardware that you might need, especially if you're going to put a ledger up, if you're going to be building a lean-to on the side of a building, a house or anything. Like, that's how this workshop was built. We had to put a ledger up, which is a piece of wood, a level piece of wood. Like I think we used a 2x12, so it's very hefty and it can hold the rafters. It runs along where you want that roof to start, and you have to put in lag bolts. This is a lag bolt. This is a small lag bolt, but this requires a different kind of application. Okay, in this piece, okay. So I have to figure out, like, I have this socket. This is the right size socket for this lag bolt, but how am I going to get it to go here? I need it to fit, but it's not going to fit right now. Okay, well, I have this little extension, but notice it's still not going to fit. I have to fix that. So what I have is this. Notice this has the bit that goes in here, and so then I have one more, okay? So I have created the bit that I need with the socket. Eventually you'll get into sockets. Sockets with like a ratchet is I love them, they're awesome. Okay, so this is going to be for lag bolts. Notice how this is pointy at this end, okay, as opposed to the bolt that does not have, more like that screw style. That's different. Okay, so this is going into the wood, this is going through a wood and being connected with the nut. Okay. Lastly, I want to show you this one here. Watch how this is called chuckless. Otherwise, you'll see on some of the screw guns, they have this little kind of a key that will tighten in the bit, but they make them now that they don't have that. Okay, so this opens pretty wide, wider than this one, right? This really, most of the time, can only take that kind of special bit. So you can open it wide, and you can close it down tight, okay? So this is a type of bit that can't fit in the other one, but it can fit in here, okay? So I have to open it up wide enough, put it in, steady it with my fingers, and it'll tighten down, and that's ready to roll, okay? And then again, when you want to take it out, turn it in the opposite direction, hold this tight, and it'll pop, okay? And it's coming out, okay. One last thing, when you are trying to drill, you're going to find that everything is harder than you thought it was, because a lot of you, and I was included, I lived in the television fantasy delusional world, and I didn't know how hard things were to do in real life, because TV makes everything look easy. So when you are putting in a screw, there is a finesse to it that you have to feel, okay? So let's say I have to go at an angle, I got to get it started, and look, it almost sometimes it wants to kind of move around on you. So you might have to back it up and start up here and then angle it. Start at this up angle, at vertical, perpendicular to the board, and then angle it as you need. Drive in. But you're going to have to feel the amount of pressure you need to put on it, because what you don't want to do is strip the screw, okay? And that is not uncommon now, because a lot of screws are made so poorly. That's why I like these, because they have a tendency to go in better. Doing something like this, you can even see this was an old screw. You can see the Phillips head part where it's been, within those grooves, it's been kind of reamed out. So, let's see if I can find the Phillips head. So what happens is that as this is going in, if you don't apply enough pressure, it starts spinning and ripping out the inside of these grooves. And then when it's stripped, it's useless and you're jammed. Especially if you got it partway into the board, now it's stuck. Then what you have to do, you have to take a hacksaw and hack it out like this, you know, like, or you have to drill it out. So let's say this is in halfway, you're gonna have to take this drill and grind down into it to get it out of the board if you need that board for some reason. So remember, these are usually capable of drilling into wood, but also metal. But there are some that are much stronger bits, drill bits that are stronger, that can go into very heavy steel. And I use those whenever I'm trying to fix a garden tool and I have to go into heavy metals, okay? Strong metal, I should call it, not a heavy metal. Okay, so again, when you're you have to adjust your pressure, because you're gonna find you're probably gonna do it too hard and too fast. You're gonna go like, wah! You're gonna go so fast and it's gonna wanna go strip, 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 strip. Or you're gonna go so loose and it's gonna go strip, 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 strip. And so you're gonna have to feel it, practice. See that, and I don't like this because I can already tell this is, I have to put an enormous amount of pressure to make this one go in because of the type of configuration on the head. So I don't like these screws. So you're going to have to practice. Get some screws, different style, different types, okay? And practice drilling them, okay? And work on having the proper pressure. Like if you're doing a drill bit, don't go too hard, don't go too fast. Kind of let it go in, pull it out a little bit, in, out, and you don't want it to heat up too much. Okay, you'll see sometimes it starts smoking, and that's not uncommon. Now, lastly, if you are starting a nail in a precarious position, it is okay if you want to start it with your hammer. Okay, especially if you are at like a funny angle and it's really hard to get, you can do something like that. Okay. So that's what I got for you. All right. Save up your money. Get a great impact driver screw gun. You can usually buy a combo, especially around the Christmas months. They sell a lot of this stuff. Get yourself, you know, a bunch of bits of all different kinds and drill bits. Okay, I keep them in 2 different colors so I don't get them mixed up, whatever I'm looking for. But that's it. All right. Have a great day, and I'll catch up with you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.